Has generative AI jumped the shark? Hi, everybody. My name is Greg Crable, and this is my podcast, Something I Learned Yesterday, where I take one issue, usually from the world of publishing, and try to explain it in a few minutes. Today's podcast is a little longer because I have a guest. Maanas Mediratta from Bridged.media is going to discuss AI and why he thinks generative AI is on the downside of the Gartner Hype Cycle. All right, well, Maanas, thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. We had a demo a little while ago where you showed me what your system does, and I was very impressed. Basically, you do AI for publishers, and you do basically four pieces. You've got things to engage readers, generate insights, increase revenue, and create content. So you've done a lot of experiments to improve reader revenue, to get a deeper understanding of their audience. You do a lot of content recommendations, segmentation, churn prediction, that sort of thing. What am I missing? Or what else do you think is exciting about what you're doing on the AI front?
Yeah, so we started out as a project on leveling the playing field in the media sector between tech vendors and publishers. I
Mm-hmm.
feel over my experience as a tech and media consultant, I felt that vendors such as Google and Meta are sort of eating the publisher's lunch. So we started this project where we're like, how can we make this aspect of AI, which is being used so heavily by tech vendors, and make it super accessible for publishers to harness it as well. 3 years later, we've done 300 experiments, and we found, as you rightly said, there are four key use cases where AI can be used, which
Mm-hmm.
is to create content, which is like a writer's assistant, where there could be things like how can I make it more SEO optimized, or how can I create insights out of my archives, or how can I use it as a redaction tool where it tells me whether it fulfills my guidelines. Or you can be using AI for personalization and reader engagement.
Mm-hmm.
Whether these are things where you create polls on your website dynamically, whether you create some sort of a reader assistant that shows the same content but in different formats, in a summary format or in a timeline format, and things like that. The third set of use cases that we found, which were ROI positive with those 300 experiments, were monetization. And some of them you mentioned, where you can predict churn for a particular user. You can predict the propensity model or the propensity to subscribe for a visitor. Even on ads front, we found that you can make ads more relevant with higher viewability
Mm-hmm.
to the direct ones, because that's where the publishers suffer the most, where they don't really know how to build a tech stack for direct ads. So we built what we call as agents in direct ads as well. And then for generating insights, really understanding what is working, whether it's the long format that's working, whether what tone is working, what topic is working, both in terms of retaining the audience, which is to engage them further, and converting them, which is the one that's creating more conversions on my either on my subscription funnel, my events funnel, my ads funnel, whatever that funnel might be relevant for the subscriber. So in a nutshell, over those 300 experiments, we found 11 different agents that were useful and created a positive ROI within 6 months of it being implemented.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's super. But um, I'm thrilled that you're able to use AI like that to help publishers. The thing that really grabbed my attention was something you posted to LinkedIn just a little bit ago, where you said you're reducing your investments in generative AI. And you mentioned something about the Gartner Hype Cycle, that we seem to be on the disillusionment part of the Gartner Hype Cycle. So, how did that come about? And what's your evidence that people aren't as interested in generative AI?
So again, data, I'm a little too data focused sometimes, which is good as an entrepreneur, but maybe not as good in other aspects. But what we found was that we did many number of experiments that were centered on generative AI, whether it's about creating additional content, whether it's about creating content from data, whether it's about, as I said, creating polls and interactive pieces. There is a certain level of marginal utility that it has. Beyond that, it has to have a human check, because as publisher, you cannot publish something that is completely automated, because the integrity or the reputation is the most valuable asset as a content business. We've seen that time and over, whether it's the example of Sports Illustrated losing a lot of its credibility in the market because of hallucination, among many other titles. So based on all those experiments, we found that the amount of value that generative AI brings, we already are there. You
Mm.
can, of course, add variables such as, hey, I will give a configuration where you can choose between Llama versus OpenAI versus other aspects, but it does not demand more innovation budget from our side, at least. That's just why we decided that we want to reduce the amount of budgets that we were putting on generative AI, and instead focus on other aspects such as database propensity modeling, churn prediction. These are data heavy innovation pieces that require more investment, and that's why based on all of our experiences and customer feedback and data, we decided that that's the path for us.
Hmm. Right. So I'm sure that a lot of people who listen to my program, I talk a lot about marketing technology and marketing tech stacks and all that. What would somebody have to have in place in order to use your services? Do they have to have a CDP? Do they have, what do they have to integrate with the services that you offer?
It's a very interesting point, and I think one of the key value or the fundamental pillar that we've used to build our AI agents is that it is compatible with pretty much existing tech stack, any existing tech stack, whichever CDP might be used, whichever CRM might be used, whichever content management system might be in place for the publisher, and that's our vision. We want to create that AI layer, which is completely under publisher's control, to be able to say, yes, now I can understand my customer better. I can really monetize them better. I can personalize things for them better, and I can create content faster for them. So we want to be that AI layer that can add those plugs and pipes to the existing tech stack. In many cases, over our experiments, we've seen that this AI layer can honestly just absorb or replace some of the tools that they might already be using. But our principle has always been to empower with that AI layer and not replace any CDP or any existing tech software.
Right. Yeah. It all sounds fascinating to me. I was very impressed when I looked at your services. How can somebody get in contact with you or find more about what you do?
So definitely Bridged.media is the best property or website to visit, just to see what we are doing, some of our case studies and some of these agents. Apart from that, founders at the Bridged.media, I'm always making sure that anyone who's reaching out to whether just position and understand what should be their AI strategy or develop proof of concept from ideas, uh, we would love to hear whatever is on your audience's mind when it comes to harnessing AI.
Hmm.
So founders at the rate Bridge.media would be another great way to reach out.
All right. Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for your time today. Let's keep in touch. I'm excited about what you're doing, and it'll be good to see. I know you have a lot of case studies about different things that people have done. I love those kind of things, good examples of how someone tried something and increased their ROI. So that's all exciting stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to have had this chat, and looking forward to following your space even further.
Okay, good. Thanks, Maanas.